Welcome to St. Augustine this evening, the Mike Davis Show, and we are so glad you are here with us tonight. We have a great panel. We're going to talk about the VP debate. We're going to talk about Major League Baseball. I'm sorry, Amanda, we're talking sports ball today. Fine. And we're going to talk about what's going on in North Carolina because there's a lot to talk about there as well. But before we do all of those things, we are going to make some money and get our advertisers out here in front. And one of our longtime original advertisers is Powell Heating and Air Conditioning. Their dedication to customer service is evident in everything they do, from the moment they answer your phone call to the time they arrive at your house, to they're working to make sure you're comfortable and confident about the care you receive from Powell Heating and Air. They've got a fleet of over 10 trucks and a 15,000 square foot warehouse stocked with parts and equipment ready to serve you, and they service all AC brands. They're also open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, including nights, weekends, and holidays. Every single day they're there if you need them. They're a locally owned business for over 39 years. Call Powell Heating and Air, 904-794-2665.
All right. We've got Solar Stick, established in 2006. Solar Stick is a local portable power company proudly committed to American manufacturing, constant innovation, and creating jobs right here in St. Augustine, Florida. Solar Stick's focus on providing solutions for self-sufficiency helps users all over the world complete missions and save lives. Solar Stick, changing lives, saving lives, and reviving American manufacturing. We've got Bozard Ford Lincoln in St. Augustine. Their goal is to make sure your time and experience buying a car is stress-free, fun, and enjoyable. Bozard is a family-owned Ford dealership that has been in business since 1949. Bozard Ford has been the recipient of numerous dealer awards, including being ranked #1 automotive dealership in the nation by Dealer Rater. Bozard Ford has also won back-to-back President's Awards, which is the highest honor given by Ford Motor Company. Check them out today online at bozardford.com or head on down there, have dinner at Ford's Garage, eat the Jiffy Burger.
All right. And Epic, for over 50 years, Epic has been a beacon of hope for our community, providing compassionate care for those touched by substance abuse, mental health disorders. Whether you're a kid, teen, adult, couple, or family, Epic is here to lend a hand. With a range of programs tailored to meet your diverse needs, Epic offers accessible solutions for everyone, from their walk-in access center to their mobile response team, from inpatient detoxification to outpatient counseling. Epic provides comprehensive care every step of the way. Their services include psychiatric evaluations, medication management, medication-assisted treatment, care coordination, peer support, suicide prevention, training, parenting education, which, boy, we all need that, and much more. So Epic, wonderful folks. They've been here for 50 years, do an amazing job within our community. If you need help, they have a whole host and range of services. Give them a call, and they are more than happy to help you out. Also, another agency that we've been trying to help raise money for is Epicure. They need to raise $100,000. Not sure where they're at. Amanda's frantically typing on her phone.
$33,990. So they're up $100 from yesterday.
They need more money. We need you guys to help them out. They're having to move locations in Putnam County, which is one of the counties that has the most need for food security and just feeding people. And Epicure does an amazing job at that. So if you know somebody who's willing to donate, if you're willing to donate, give them a hand. And Amanda's got the GoFundMe page up for you. So
in the comments.
In the comments, grab that wonderful group. All right, we're going to lead before we get to the debate. I have just a couple of comments on North Carolina. Sorry. It's been a long day for me, trying to recover from planning and zoning yesterday. But North Carolina, I've watched a lot of videos, seen a lot of stuff that's been posted. The one theme that continues to come through is if you're stranded on a mountain right now and you're waiting for the federal government to come get you, you better get your ass moving somewhere else, because they're not coming to help you out. Not like you think they are. Your friends, your neighbors, people you've never met before, they're going to come help you. Your fellow citizens are going to come help you because they're rolling up their sleeves and getting it done. I think the federal response to this, I don't know if you guys remember, you're probably kids when this happened in 2000. Katrina hits New Orleans and Bush goes down and says, Brownie's taking care of everything. Brownie was the nickname for the guy who was the head of FEMA. He got fired the next week. We could use Brownie right now. FEMA could use Brownie right now because it would be an improvement over what we're currently getting in
FEMA. There's some stuff coming out about FEMA that kind of answers why they're being so crazy absent in this whole response. They're on their website when this hurricane hit. On their website, I'm not sure if it's been scrubbed yet, but their number one priority was equity, which is not their mission statement.
So equity, in my mind, if it's a natural disaster, we're going to go help everybody the same. That's equity in my mind.
No, that's equality. Equity is, it's based on your demographic need gets met first.
That's what I just said. No, you're not getting it. You think about it, you'll get it. So they're abandoning North Carolina. They're abandoning rural areas because they don't care about the rural areas. They just don't. The federal government does not care about those rural areas. They're harder to get to. You can't drive in with a bunch of trucks, make a splash. It's going to be difficult. Nobody planned for this. No one thought about it. It's historic flooding that they've had. But it's an opportunity for a federal agency to go, wow, we should be able to do all of these things. And why didn't we pre-plan some of this? Why didn't we pre-position some stuff? Bring somebody from Florida Power and Light to FEMA and have them talk about what Florida Power and Light does when a storm is headed towards the southeast, not just Florida, but anywhere in the southeast to prepare to help other states.
Well, Ron DeSantis appears to be providing more leadership in this than the federal government.
Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Donald Trump's GoFundMe page was over $4 million earlier today for this.
Which is a drop in the bucket, but it's a lot more than what we're getting elsewhere.
Correct. And I know people that have rolled up their sleeves, driven their trucks, their skid steers, their chainsaws up to southern Georgia, the closest place we can get to with fuel, and just go to work for free.
Yeah.
That's neighbors helping neighbors. So, yeah, we could use a lot more of that.
Yeah.
And we're going to need a lot more of that. North Carolina is going to need a lot more of that if it wants to recover. Because if they're waiting on the federal government, good luck.
Well, Josh in the comments says, if we can send Ukraine another $1 billion package, we can definitely help our own people. Troy posted, I don't know if it was publicly or in the group chat, that he doesn't want to see another dollar leave our country on foreign aid until everything is fixed from these hurricane victims.
For anything. So one of the things we talked about, and I sent you a video earlier today from Samaritan's Purse, and it's on Instagram. Their offices are in North Carolina. I think they're near Brevard. So they're in the middle of all of this. They do an amazing job sending stuff all over the world to help people. They have suspended sending out Christmas packages anywhere in the world until they deal with the situation in their backyard. Which is absolutely amazing for Samaritan's Purse.
It's a terrifying amount of devastation.
Yes. And they're one of the good ones where when you give money, the percentage of money that you give actually goes to where it's supposed to go to. They're a really, really good cause. Franklin Graham's involved in that. I mean, it's wonderful. But for them to say, hey, we're going to stop doing everything overseas until we can help people in our backyard, in our state, that is the way you're supposed to do this.
So what churches, other churches have been in communication with my church, and what we're hearing is that ATMs are completely out of cash, and so they need gift cards. And so churches are trying to mobilize gift cards getting sent in to the victims of this disaster because they need money somehow. And that's a safe way to get it to them. You can do digital gift cards if you know anybody in that area that needs it. But if I get more information on how we can get gift cards to these people, I'll let you guys know. But that is a big need because there's just no cash and there aren't any Brinks trucks coming in to bring them more cash. So I'll update you on that if I get more information.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I just had a little rant about that because I feel like we have an entire region of the country that has been devastated. And the government is doing darn little to get to those people.
The federal government, yeah.
The federal government. But the federal government, as we all talked about, and Troy commented earlier today, you've commented, can flat out throw billions of dollars across the world for wars. But we can't help our own people who do not have drinking water, who do not have power, and who do not have food.
And there's people that are without homes. That I doubt they're going to be handed home from the federal government, but there are certainly other people that are getting free housing that we can get into that if you want to.
And this story runs Florida, Georgia, all the way up into the Carolinas, North Carolina. Obviously, I hit hard. I've got friends in the Tampa, St. Pete area that lost homes. It's a devastating storm. There's a lot that needs to be done across a wide range. Nobody's mobilizing it. Right? You got one vice presidential, our vice president's running around trying to run for office, telling everyone she's going to take care of people when people are hurting and suffering. Hasn't been to any of those areas, has not rolled up her sleeves and done anything, hasn't mobilized anybody. And you got a president that's going around trying to tell everybody, I did a great job over the last 4 years, and you should be congratulating me for being a great president.
Meanwhile, wasn't he at a beach house when all this was going down? And she was at a $1 billion fundraiser or $1 million fundraiser, hundreds of thousands per table in California. That's wild.
Yeah. What it should have done is set up with that and said, you know what? I know you're giving to my campaign. We're going to make do. I want all the money raised from this to go to the victims. We're going to give it to the Red Cross just for this area. That's what a leader would have done.
Yeah.
That's what a leader would have done. All of these donations you're giving me, my campaign's donating those to Red Cross for these areas. That's what a leader would have done.
Well, I'm old enough to remember when Ted Cruz was lambasted because he got his family out of Texas during an ice storm, and he was blasted all over the internet because where they evacuated to happened to be Cancun, Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
But we've got a president who's completely off the radar at the beach and a vice presidential candidate for president hanging out in California when all this is going down and posting a picture of, look how hard I'm working. Not even a video, not even a call for action, a call for prayer, some kind of message of sympathy, just a picture of her in front of what looks like a blank piece of paper with an earbud in. Congratulations. So I can do that too.
Now I'm going to blow your mind. Imagine if they were actually trying to help.
Good gracious.
Imagine what kind of shape we'd be in then. We got to get this up. We got 5-6 weeks. We need some competent adult leadership that can fix problems. So that's all I'm telling you. We don't have it right now. You know who's competent and an adult? Levi. Mm-hmm. Levi Moore is competent and an adult.
I was just listening. I'm honestly not that versed on what's going on in North Carolina.
So angry right now.
I had a buddy of mine that is, he actually plays on my basketball team. He's 68 years old. He's the oldest guy in the league playing with 25-year-old pros. And
can he still dunk?
No, he can't dunk, but
I'm slightly less impressed.
He can shoot the basketball, but he was stuck on Beach Mountain. Yeah. And he texted us and said, hey guys, I just want to let you know I'm stuck in North Carolina. I'm not going to be able to make the game this week. I had to hike to the top of the mountain to even get cell service to text y'all. I don't know when I'm going to be able to get down. We don't have power. We don't have water. We don't have food. And so that was when I first caught wind of this. And I've honestly been busy on my own house because as big of a storm as this was, I didn't think it was going to hit us as hard as it did with the winds. And from the last hurricanes that I had got hit twice in this house, I had no damage. This hurricane, I had considerable damage on my house. Yeah. My whole neighborhood did, actually. I think it's the side of the storm that these states were on. Mm-hmm. I have another friend that lives in Pensacola and said that they barely got anything. Yeah, they were on the left side of the eye wall. Mm-hmm. As we know, the storm rotates west to east. Mm-hmm. So
my brother was even closer in Niceville, and they barely got rain.
They barely got rain, yeah.
That's wild.
It was the side of the storm that we were all on. And another friend of mine that's in South Carolina is still without power and said that everything in that region of the U.S. has lakes and dams, and these dams have all failed. And it's caused the roads to wash out. It's caused all this to happen. So y'all are way more versed on the situation than I am, so I was just listening.
Have you heard about, there's Southern Living magazine posted a story about David Jones. He was in the destruction in South Carolina, and his daughter was supposed to be getting married in Tennessee, and her wedding was still happening, but he was separated, and there appeared to be no way for him to effectively get to her. He ended up walking 30 miles through hurricane debris to get to where he could pick up a ride to get to his daughter's wedding so that he could walk her down the aisle.
That's a dedicated dad. What a guy.
That's a stud. That's a dude right there, right? That's a guy
He's the G of the week.
Yes, he is 100%. I have a friend who's got family in central Georgia, and they had friends of theirs that their house was so damaged they couldn't stand it. They had to sleep in their car for 2 nights, no water, no food.
Wow.
No water and no food for 2 nights. The other thing about this, and I'm not knocking people, I didn't live there, and if that storm had hit me in that time frame, I don't have everything I need in my house right now, but all of us, you ought to have some basic essentials whenever storms are coming. A full tank of gas, water, some food, some way to cook the food, right? I mean, cash is another thing. We just talked about ATMs being out. those are things that you should have with you all the time. And if you don't have that, when you get in these situations, you're going to find out just how desperate it is. And we're so used to, I mean, for the most part, you can ride down the road and get all of those things in 15 or 20 minutes. If you're on a mountain, you go down the mountain, you get it, you go back up the mountain. But you got to have a little more supplies in there to be able to do that. So, yeah, just be prepared. I mean, I'm not a full-on prepper. There's no way I'll ever be. I don't think any of us could ever be. I mean, if situation got that bad, we're all going to find out just how little we have really quickly. So, squirrel population's going down too.
Well, our prayers go out to those families in those rural areas that are still struggling, and hopefully they get some help quick. And it just goes to show, you can't rely on the federal government to handle everything in your life. So, I mean, I'm not telling you who to vote for, but I mean, the proof is in the pudding.
But you don't own a cat, and you don't like Doritos.
I do have a cat.
Should always ask that question in pre-prep.
Dude, I grew up with cats. I grew up always owning a cat. So
I have 2 cats.
We take in strays. Like my mom loves animals. We just always took in stray cats. Yeah. So no more than one at a time, though. That was my dad's rule.
Well, so we have a fat stray that we got through animal control adoption. We fell in love with him in a Facebook post and went and got him. And then we were killing time and walked in to visit the pets in a pet store and fell in love with this older feline or female feline. So she's a black cat. She's 8 years old. She's got some issues. It's going to cost us a pretty penny, but she's very sweet.
Speaking of animals, how about St. Augustine's opening the world's second capybara cafe? The Capybara Cafe. Have you heard of this?
No, I've not. What
haven't heard about this?
No, I've been out of the loop. I was in a planning and zoning meeting for a day, and this happens.
So, you know what a capybara is?
I have no idea.
So, a capybara is coined the friendliest animal in the world, and they basically are 200. They get to be like 200 pounds. They're gerbils. They're massive gerbils. They're half aquatic. They're mammals. They are friends with crocodiles. They ride on the backs of birds. There's videos of these animals doing everything. They socialize in large groups. And there is a capybara cafe. And I'm saying that right, correct?
Yeah, capybara.
There's a capybara cafe in Japan that is blown up via TikTok. So everyone knows about it. We are officially opening the second one in St. Augustine, October 12th.
October 12th, because it's the day before my birthday. My husband sends it to me. He's like, this sounds like something you want to do.
October 12th. I will be there. I will be there.
Where is this?
It's at the back of the Great Expectations Realty Building.
Yes.
So the Realty Building on the corner of US 1 with the big giraffe.
Okay.
It's in that building.
Okay.
Mike,
so
when you leave today, look up capybaras.
Yes, they're so cute. So Jenna,
I thought that's the stuff they fed to the alligators at the alligator farm.
No. Those are Nutria.
No, I'm just kidding.
So Jenna, who runs Great Expectation Realty, she and her husband, her kids got to visit the capybaras first and or early. And so she posted pictures yesterday, I think. Not only were they playing with capybaras, they were playing with a skunk too. You can play with all sorts of animals in there. I can't wait.
I'm so
excited.
stoked.
No.
You're on a show with 2 animal lovers. I don't know how much you love the animals, but we love them.
I've been taking care of my dog. Darcy's been visiting her dad in Tampa, trying to help with some of the cleanup down at his house. I do open the door every morning, and I miss my cat. Our cat died this year, and I'll open the door and go, buddy, I just wish you were still there. But he was a cool cat because he stayed outside most of the time. He only came in when he wanted to, and he would literally come in and look around and go, okay, you can let me back out now.
That's how mine is.
Are you sitting down again? Because I'm ready to go back out again. And my daughter taught him as a kitten to only come in off the back porch through the kitchen sink window.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So he would sit at the kitchen sink window. You could open the doors. You could put food at the doors. And he would just it's like, no, this window has to open before I come back in. That was the only way he came back in off of the porch was the window.
The tree frog and aloe lizard population in my backyard is decimated by my cat. Mm-hmm. So she lives outside too. Her name's Mila Kunis. She's a Maine Coon.
Oh man,
Tigger would not
Maine
hunt anything.
Mm-hmm. Those are expensive.
Tigger wouldn't hunt anything. We had 2 other cats.
I got it for free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, My kids wanted a Maine Coon when we were looking for a cat, and I couldn't find any available for adoption. And to get one is like,
they're pricey.
dude, they're in the thousands of dollars.
Yep.
So my rescue kitty is going to cost me $1,000 thanks to her teeth. But
I got lucky. My business partner, when I owned the moving company, his wife was a large animal vet, and she worked with horses, and they had a Maine Coon litter on one of the farms that she worked at.
Yeah.
And she took in like 6 of them, and she gave me one. So that's how I got her.
Well, I'm happy for you guys. I will have to wait a few more months for the grand opening that I am looking forward to. Do you want to know what that is?
I would love to know.
I'm terrified.
Oh, this is the grand opening I am looking for. Developer announces surf park plans for Jacksonville.
Yes.
So E-Town, which I don't even know what E-Town is, I guess East Town, they're going to build a surf park there. This will be the second one they built there, or there's 2 in
It's an Australian architect, right?
Yeah, 2 in Australia, and this company has the franchise for them in the Jacksonville area, so they're going to build it in Jacksonville. Just hope they face it into the Northeast, so finally we'll get offshore Northeast winds would be a good thing for us as opposed to onshore, but they'll figure it all out. But I'm very much looking forward. This is a park that is not one wave per rider. It's so big that about 80 people can be in the water at the same time. There's an experienced wave, and then it kind of breaks down into a intermediate and a beginner wave on the other end of the park. So it should be pretty interesting.
Have you ever surfed in a wave park before?
I did Disney's Typhoon Lagoon, right? And they shut that all down at night. You're basically walking in the park with your surfboards as the last people are leaving. It's really pretty cool because you get to talk to people about that. We had about 8 of us, which is about the right number. And when you were doing one wave at a time, it was a long wait. So you can have lefts or you can have rights, which is just one rider, or you get 2 guys in the middle of the pool and they do a split peak. So you're riding in both directions. That about wore us out for the last 40 minutes because we're like, just leave it on the split wave and we're going to run this. And you would look up and go, oh my gosh, there's a guy riding. There's another guy getting in behind him. Then there's the next guy 200 yards away. And you just started running to catch, because you're paying for every wave.
Yeah.
So you didn't want to miss a wave. You're like, we're going to go get this done. So it was pretty fun. It wasn't like Kelly Slater's Surf Ranch and some of the other wave pools, but we hadn't surfed in about 5 weeks, so it felt pretty good. Not gonna lie, felt pretty good.
Have you ever hit anything on your surfboard, like when you're just sitting out there waiting for a wave in the lineup and like something bumps into you and you don't know what it is?
No, those are sharks when they bump into you. Those are sharks.
So I've tried to get into surfing my entire life.
Yes.
And I've done the long boards, I've done the short boards, I've gone out with Brooks Bailey and Mark Bailey. I've gone out with all those surfers that we know.
Yes.
I've gone out with all of them. And I can't get into it because of things bumping into me. It scares the crap out of me.
Oh no, I'm definitely afraid. I saw Jaws as a little kid and definitely afraid of sharks, still are. I just love surfing. So I just kind of put the fear aside and I just go. But I've had plenty of shark close encounters.
So I say that to say maybe I could do a wave pool.
A wave pool will be fine.
Because I can see the bottom. I know there's nothing in there. So
no, I think it's the wave pool will introduce it to a lot of people. There'll be a lot of people that'll get to go practice things. The one out in Waco, Texas, they've got that set up for all kinds of tricks. So young surfers will go out there and surf there for 3 or 4 days at a surf camp. And they'll learn how to do airs. They'll learn how to do aerial 360s, all these crazy maneuvers, because they have a consistent wave and they have time to go do it. They book the time to go do it. So it's a better experience for trying to grow your surf skills than going to Central America, where you're going to get waves, but you might not always get the best waves every day. That will help that one skill set you're trying to learn. And I was in Costa Rica a year ago, and there was or maybe earlier this year, there was a group from a surf camp. There's like 5 or 6 guys, and they were amazing. They were pulling off airs. They were doing 360s. There was all these amazing maneuvers. And about every 30 minutes, they'd run in and talk to their coach. And they had a guy filming the entire thing. And then they'd run back out, and we're like in the water. You're like, you think they're being told they have to do this maneuver next or that? I mean, it's how you get better at basketball and everything else. So you have to figure they were doing some kind of training off that. But it was really fun to watch those guys surf. I didn't go anywhere near them because I knew I was never going to catch a wave near them.
Where are the best waves in the world?
There's great waves everywhere. Fiji's got good waves. There's good waves in Central America.
Now Fiji's really dangerous, right? Because a lot of it's on reefs.
A lot of it's on reef. There's places around the world where you reef surf. So, just in Central America, there's a wide variety. So El Salvador is almost all rock. If you go to the Caribbean, Puerto Rico's all over reef. And that's a really tough one to get out. I mean, you have to know where it's called a keyhole, is the little hole between the coral where you go out and how you come back in. So that and a bigger swell is really difficult. Then you get to Costa Rica, there's a lot of sandy beaches, but there's a lot of places down there that there's rock that can be exposed. So during the rainy season, a lot of the sand might get washed off of the reefs. So you'll walk out over a beautiful sand beach during the dry season, and then you come back 6 months later and like, where do all these rocks come from? And they're not little rocks. Some of them are big rocks.
No, thank you. I'm good. I'll stay on land.
And then there's
I'm more of a cabana with a cocktail gal.
Oh,
at the
I like
beach.
that. I like that.
That's my speed.
A little hookah, a little cabana.
So there's where we surf in Marbella in Costa Rica, there's a big rock in the middle of the break. And at low tide, it's fully exposed and you're not going to run into it. At high tide, it's fully underwater. It's about 4 feet tall. And again, depends on the sand and the different season. But you're riding and you're always looking over your shoulder, like, where is the boil? Where's the rock? And there's times like, I got to get out. I caught a wave one time. Huge set was coming in, 10 waves in a row. And I'm all the way on the inside. And I'm just going to paddle and duck dive, paddle and duck dive, paddle. I'm 50 yards from the rock when I start this process. I get through like the 7th or 8th wave and I come up and I go to put my hand in the water and there's something hard here and there's something hard here. And I'm like, no. And I'm like, I'm on the rock. I had floated over on the rock, right? Duck diving and paddling and the current just. So now I'm trying to fish. My knees are on the rock. I'm trying to fish the board out so it doesn't get dinged up and beat up. And my buddy Sal Rapero is surfing at me, just laughing the entire time. He can see the entire thing. I have to wait for his wave to come by, throw the board off, jump off, and then paddle like a madman to get away from the rock. And the whole time it's like the rock was just reaching back for me. It's like, no, come back to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it can get, you just have to be careful at those things. And then you got to, California has got great waves out there too at times. Water's colder. And they have some big unfriendlies out there.
Yeah, they have
the men in the gray suits.
Gray
are
whites
not
out
good.
there.
Yeah, the gray suit people are not good. They're just not good. So yeah,
I do like to scuba. I like to be under the waves. I'm not so much on top of the waves.
See, I would dive with sharks. I would do that.
Oh, absolutely.
But I'm not going to go surfing in shark infested waters. But I would do
you dive in shark infested waters.
I would do a controlled dive in shark infested waters, but I would not go surfing where I'm flapping on top of the surface making a lot of noise.
Well, we were in Australia.
Watched a lot of Shark Week.
We're in the northern part at Noosa, and that's a fairly safe area for great whites. There's an island off of Noosa that apparently there's a lot of great whites out there, but
Seal Island?
I don't think that's it. So as we went farther south towards Byron Bay, the seal population gets huge.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm watching all these big giant seals out there, and I'm like, no, I'm not going out. I'm not paddling out in this. This is just too sharky of waters for me. Because if there's giant seals, sea lions and seals out there, there's something eating them. Mm-hmm. And I look just like one. Yeah. A really weak, slow one. And so I'm like, no, not going.
See, here's my thought process, right? I love to snowboard. But if you told me when I snowboarded, maybe once in every 2 million chances, a giant monster might pop out from underneath the snow and just grab me and eat me, I probably wouldn't want to snowboard anymore. Mm-hmm. And that's how I feel about surfing.
Yeah. Have you seen the videos of the snowboarders with the GoPros?
With the bears chasing them?
They don't even realize there's a bear behind them, and they're just like, hee.
And that's another thing. Back there like, that's another thing with snowboarding is when you're taking the ski lift up, you just see the ski patrol bringing people down that have just injured themselves. And you're like, okay, should I really go to the double black diamond or should I probably get off on the blues?
Yes. All right. For those of you that are baseball fans,
we're sorry for your loss.
It's America's pastime, Amanda.
I'm aware of what baseball is.
Just want to know what it is. There's a bunch of guys that play on a diamond. There's 9 of them per side. The Houston Astros, which are one of the hottest teams in the second half of the season, are 1 out away from losing to the Detroit Tigers.
Oh, yeah?
When was the last time the Tigers made it this far?
1983 or 84 when I think they may have been there one other time.
I mean, look, Detroit's coming back as a sports city.
There's nobody left there to watch the games, but they're coming back.
The Lions beat a really good Seahawks team on Monday night.
One of the best. I can't remember who the running back was who completely trucked.
Oh,
do you know what trucking a guy means, Amanda?
David Montgomery.
I don't know.
It's whenever one guy goes to tackle him and he's got full speed and the other guy just runs him over instead. The running back or the offensive player just trucks him.
All right.
So
he got trucked. Yeah, it was probably
it
the
is
highlight.
over for the Houston Astros. They will be going home. One of the hottest teams in
Detroit's
baseball.
so excited. They're celebrating like they won the World Series.
Yes. Yep.
Josh needs the Padres to win.
No,
Josh.
No,
Josh. No.
Of course, Josh.
No.
Of course, you didn't bet on the
Thanks for
Braves.
that comment, Josh.
It's because he bet on the Padres. I know, Josh.
No.
He bet on the Padres.
That's what he said to catch
Josh, if you can name 4 guys on the Padres, you're allowed to bet on them. Otherwise, no.
He probably can. He's a
He
sports
probably
junkie.
can. He's a nut. He's probably going to give me the starting lineup.
Yeah, exactly.
Guys that are on injured reserve, the
Without
pitching
Google,
rotation.
Josh.
Yeah. He can probably do that all. But no. So anyway, Surf Park, we'll all go up. We'll go Surf Park one day.
Okay, we'll
down.
go to the Capybara Cafe and Mike can go to the surf park.
Yeah, but he has to come to the Capybara Cafe with us.
I know.
I'll go to the Capybara Cafe.
They're so cute.
I will go. I don't want to pick up a 200-pound.
Dude, you don't pick
No,
them
they're
up.
just-
you pet them.
So the ones that are there are
You
little.
can pet them.
The ones that are there are little. They're like the size of a corgi max.
yeah, the
like a
200-pound
small
ones are like
corgi.
full-grown male
Yeah.
capybaras.
These are too young
What's a corgi?
capybaras. Okay, Jack Russell Terrier.
Okay. All right.
They're about the
A
size of Jack.
dog. Okay.
A dog,
That's good.
yeah.
Yeah, that helps.
Good
dog.
gracious.
Okay.
They're about the size of a family dog.
Just a dog. That's all I need.
Yeah.
All right, Josh got 1. Tatis.
Tatis, yeah, well, that's a given.
My son Matt loves the Padres just because of Tatis, and I'm like,
He hit
Just
it.
one guy.
He cranked a 2-run homer against us in the first inning.
yes. Yeah, Josh, don't walk over the Braves' grave just yet. We got a shot at this. I did go to lunch at Kaiser's today.
Yeah.
I realized that I can
What did
put
you have?
things. I had the bollocks, but I put the right kind of cheese on it. I put a better cheese on it, and we had ciabatta bread, which was really, really good. Instead of
I'm guessing no mushrooms.
no mushrooms. But I was gonna pay, and the owner's so cool. He's like, you can just put this on Troy's tab if you want to.
Sweet.
So if you guys want to meet me tomorrow,
Wait,
over
that's
there.
an option?
Yeah.
I know Kaiser. I'll
Yeah,
tell him to put it on Troy's card.
Just put it on Troy's card. He's got it. It's good to go. We're fine. Yes. He said,
Circle.
don't worry. We can charge Troy for this. I really like that guy. I
I
want to
know.
tell you. So, yes.
Kirkle Jerkle's a good guy.
Yes, he is. All right. The VP debate was last night. We've been 30 minutes into the show without the VP debate.
Yeah.
You
Let's get on
guys
it.
watched it. I attempted to. I started to, but I had this really long planning and zoning meeting, and I was just like, I'm tapping out. I'm going to bed at 9:15. So I did a little, I did some review today of some of the stuff, and it's the same with every debate. Everybody on the left wants to say that Waltz won, but a lot of them I was watching in comments had to admit that JD Vance did extremely well.
Including CNN.
Yeah, they were not happy about that. It's funny. I guess Harris's camp's like, oh, we need another debate with Donald Trump. If I was Trump, I'd be like, well, when your guy beats Vance, call me and we'll do another one.
Yeah.
He should,
That's what
he
I
should
would
say
say.
that.
When
He
you
should say
guys
that.
when you guys beat Vance, call me and we'll do another one.
Dude.
Yeah.
It was a trouncing. Like, you almost felt bad for Tim Walz. If Tim Walz wasn't such a dirtbag, you would feel bad about it. But he's such a liar, man. He lies about things that are just non-consequential. Like, you never had to say that you were in Tiananmen Square. You never had to say it. Nobody required you to be there. But he just offers this completely bizarre story without paying attention to the fact that he was in the paper in Nebraska.
But we all have friends like that, right? You tell me you didn't have a friend like that. Tell me you didn't have somebody, because you can look at him and go, oh, that's just like my friend. We had a guy.
Well, I wouldn't call him my friend, but he is in Congress.
I know who you're talking about. We had a guy that lived in Crescent Beach, and we were all learning to surf. It was all like our first or second year of surfing. He would come to school every day and tell us that the waves were overhead and tubing at his house. And we're like, well, that's amazing, because it was flat, or it was onshore northeast winds everywhere else. And, oh, no, it was tubing at my house. It's like the guy that tells you, oh, Levi, I was playing in a game the other day and I scored 45.
Yeah.
And like, by yourself in the gym, how many hours did it take?
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Or the kid that tells you, I've got the tryout with the NBA team next week.
It's just an embellishment to make them sound cooler.
Yes. It doesn't work, because everybody just looks at him and goes, yeah, you're not cool.
Yeah.
You're not
exactly.
cool.
So Josh mentions that he heard that JD Vance was killing even the fact checkers. And so
He
evidently the rules were that the moderators weren't going to be jumping in with fact checks. And he totally called them out on it when they did, and totally took control of the situation and was like, hey, you fact check this. So I'm going to explain what I meant. And that girl was so salty, dude.
She turned his mic off.
She was so mad. And then she turned his mic off so he couldn't answer back. She says a snarky remark and then cuts his mic off.
They're not used to that, right? For years, the Republicans that are establishment Republicans have put up with being treated like dirt from the media. Trump turned that all around.
Republicans can fold like a cheap suit.
And now you have a whole group of Republicans, and I'm not a huge Carrie Lake fan, but I think that when it's fun to watch her in the media. Because she just rips them. I mean, she was in the media. She understands the trick. She understands what they're doing. She's really fun to watch. JD Vance is fun to watch. Trump can be a little over the top, right?
When Trump is on his game, he's fun to watch.
Yep.
But when he gets all up in his feels, like his debate with Kamala Harris, then it's not so fun.
Trump shoots from the hip a lot. And what I liked about JD last night is he didn't take any bait. He stayed cool, calm, and collected. He spoke with conviction. He talked about facts. If they tried to fact check him, he backed up his facts with receipts. And Waltz was showing a ton of emotion. Eyes were bugged out like he was on Adderall.
I don't think he realized that he was on split screen.
Yeah.
Because the screen grabs you're getting from this debate are hilarious. So
he's taking notes the whole time.
Watched it. You should watch it. Because JD Vance is Jim from The Office.
Yes.
He would set a trap for Waltz where Waltz would completely fabricate, if you want to use a nicer word than I used earlier. And JD Waltz would just look at the camera like Jim and just smirk, those blue eyes staring right into your soul, saying, Google it. Just go ahead.
That's what my girlfriend said. His eyes are so blue.
Yeah.
I said, like mine?
She said, no. No.
She said, well, both you guys have dark hair.
No.
She's got a type.
With a beard, too. Don't forget the beard.
Yeah.
Don't forget.
Touche.
So I don't think that helps Harris at all. Everything I'm kind of seeing, and you got to kind of read between some of the stories that are out there. Harris had a bump after she got anointed. Not elected, anointed, appointed, selected, whatever you want to say.
Won the coup.
It wasn't democratic. Let me just put it that way. It was less than democratic.
Successful coup.
Yes. So
it's the one thing she's achieved in her career.
So she gets, there's a little bit of bump. But as people have gotten to know her, there's nothing to know, right? There's no there. You have something on your phone, which I kind of stumbled into. Tell people what meme is on your phone right now.
The one about that I just showed you?
Yes.
Oh, about Obama. So it has Obama, then it has Biden, then it has Harris. And it has a quote next to Obama that says, I need a VP that's dumber than me. Biden. Then it has Biden. I need a VP that's dumber than me. Harris. Then it has Harris. I need a VP that's dumber than me. Then here's good old Waltzy boy at the bottom. So he's kind of the fourth ring on the dumb ladder for the Democratic Party. And it's like, how much lower can they go?
Oh, if we elect them, you'll find out.
Yeah.
You'll find out. Trust me, they won't disappoint you. They'll give you an answer to that.
And Waltz's, his VP would be probably P. Diddy.
I don't know about that.
I don't know that they go that far. No, it's just it's interesting. So I think the momentum is shifting to Trump. You got about 5 weeks left. There's a couple of wild cards in this. Is how does the rural areas in Georgia and the Carolinas, how's that going to impact those states? Right. My guess is they're going to get that cleaned up. They're going to make sure that voting happens, and the majority of those people are still going to vote. And I think you're going to have that. So I think there's a good turnout in that. But I do think there's certain states now that are coming into play. Nevada's back in play for Trump. Minnesota's back in play for Trump. Michigan's back in play because of what's going on in the Middle East. Pennsylvania's leaning Trump. So you're starting to see what happens is these polling companies that are left-leaning polling companies, they don't want to be so wrong that they won't be hired 4 years from now.
Yeah.
Right.
So Rush Limbaugh used to say this. Rush was great at explaining this. I'm never going to get as an accurate explanation as what Rush would do. But these polling companies go out and they poll they poll just voters, registered voters. And they can sway these things any way they want. And they do polling to shift it and go, okay, well, Harris should win. Well, then as it gets closer and closer and closer, they don't want to be the polling company that when they review everything is the one outside the margin. Quinnipiac was one of the worst ones at it. And they got called out for it a bunch of times this year. All of a sudden, Quinnipiac polls are going from Harris +6 to Trump +5.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I trust it, right? Because it's not a polling agency that I like.
Yeah.
And you'll see certain groups are Republican groups. They almost always have a couple more point lead for the Republicans than you might see at the end. Trafalgar's one of the big ones. So as you start to kind of watch this, you see that. But as it gets closer to election day, they want to be the ones that say, hey, we had it right. You need to hire us next time and pay us more money than all those other guys. So you'll see these polls start to tighten up and get a little bit more accurate over the next 2 to 3 weeks. Because it's all of a sudden, it's about their bank next time.
Did you see what Newsom signed today or yesterday?
Was it the meme bill?
It was the bill saying that you don't have to have a license, a United States license to vote in California.
Dude.
That happened today or yesterday. It was I saw it on the news this morning. So you officially don't have to be a citizen in California to vote for the president.
Gee, I wonder why that is.
Yeah.
So it's nonsense.
I'm going to tell you what's going to change this. And my little leprechaun friend, Troy Blevins, stumbled across this a few years ago. And he's 100% right. Hispanic voters are looked at by the Democratic Party as this savior to them, right? They're losing an older generation of Democrats that were FDR Democrats and New Deal Democrats and Kennedy Democrats. They're losing them, right? They're passing away. So they said, well, we'll just bring in Hispanics and they'll vote left. A lot of these people are the Hispanic culture is very fractured and very different.
Yes.
Right. It's not a monolithic group. Mm-mm. They think of them as monolithic because they're from south of the border and they have a skin color.
They're racist.
Yes. And so if all of a sudden they find out, well, we've let all these people in the country, and a few years after getting in the country, they realize the best thing for their family is for conservatives to be in power and to have a government that doesn't let everybody else in to come take their jobs after they're here. And they're going to have unleashed a giant of future conservative voters, and it's going to be too late for them to realize that. They're going to fight and fight and fight, and all of a sudden they're going to, wait a minute, we let people in who we wanted to be liberal, and now they're conservative. Hispanic voters are going to vote for Trump at the highest rate that they ever have. African Americans are going to vote for Trump. Working class people have left the Democratic Party. They're now voting for Trump. The people that are voting, it's great for me. I watched an ad today, a union guy, obviously it's a union guy, and he says, well, I don't want to vote for Trump because all of his tax cuts go to the rich. Dude, all your party is rich people using you as union stooges to do their bidding for them. So good luck with that. And by the way, you're not seeing when they shipped your job overseas, it was both Republicans and Democrats that did that. And they were happy to ship your jobs
But
overseas.
Also, if we don't elect Trump, those Trump tax cuts that are still in force right now, they're going to expire, and then you're going to find out just how much money you're saving with those Trump tax cuts.
Yes.
So one of the things that Tim Walz said, he blurted out some wild stuff last night, but one of the things that I think is really going to hurt the ticket is when asked about gun buybacks and their stance on the Second Amendment, at one point he blurts out, it's just the guns, guys. Sometimes it's just the guns. And they want to take the guns. And that is not a winning issue in Pennsylvania. That is not a winning issue in most of the country. I mean, this country is pro Second Amendment, whether the Democrats want to believe it is or not. And so that is such an old line also that it's just the guns. That is a very outdated line.
Two gun salesmen in the history.
Obama
and Biden. Best two gun salesmen in the history of the country. They have sold more guns than anyone else. And it's amazing to me when you kind of watch this. There's people up in the Carolinas saying, hey, don't come up here unless you're carrying. Yeah. Because people are getting desperate.
Yeah.
I watched the video today and a woman that was involved with AIDS said, you need to talk to the police. And they said, people are now getting desperate. It's a week. They haven't had food. They haven't had water. You're going to, unfortunately, I think you're going to see some things that shouldn't happen, but people get desperate and they make bad decisions.
So Josh asked about J.D. Vance as Trump's choice for VP. And he's saying, do we think J.D. Vance was the best choice? that he liked Byron Donalds, even though he likes JD Vance. So I think that what we saw last night shows why Trump selected JD Vance.
I think JD Vance did, from what I've seen of the clips, and again, it's all kind of pieced together, and based on what y'all's comments, I trust both of you in your opinion, even though you both lean the way I do. And we'll ask Blake tomorrow. That should be a very interesting question for Blake and Lenny. They gave us a very honest answer on the Harris-Trump debate. Byron Donalds is going to be the next governor of Florida. So, Josh, if you want another governor, a great governor for 8 years, you want Byron Donalds, and let him kind of build up his resume. We have the deepest bench on the Republican side. If we can just get rid of some of these old rhinos that are standing in the way, the younger Republicans are going to be far more aggressive than the older country club Republicans who are just happy to be at the table and not be in charge.
Well, they're too afraid to not get invited to the right cocktail parties. And so they'll say the right things to get elected, and then they fold when it comes to taking a stand. I mean, John McCain got elected on repealing Obamacare, and then he was the one that failed us when we tried to repeal Obamacare when we had a real chance. So I am so tired of these old guard Republicans that say the right thing to get elected, and then they just hang out with their buddies up in D.C. and get rich off our tax dollars. I'm ready for them to retire.
Well, and that's the thing with JD Vance is that I think he kind of brings a little bit of the new school because he's 40, right?
He's
40 years old. Yeah. So he gets both sides of the coin, right? He understands the old guard. He kind of knows how to maneuver the situation. Clearly he can speak well in front of a camera, and half of being a politician is being likable in front of a camera. Whether you believe it or not, you have to be able to persuade people through the media. And you also have to be able to handle yourself behind closed doors. And when we see him speak and how he spoke last night, how he handled the attacks from the moderators and the opposing party, I think that's why Trump picked him over one of these old guard Republicans, or even someone that's a little newer on the come up, is that he has the values that we look for in a leader. And that's why I think JD Vance was a good pick. I didn't know who he was until he was picked. And after hearing him speak last night, I would double down on him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think you have him, you have Byron Donalds, you have Vivek Ramaswamy. Right?
I love Vivek.
You have just this long list. And Elon Musk suddenly tilting to more of a conservative. I'm not going to say he's a Republican. But
so he's conservative leaning libertarian at this point?
Yes, I would say that, and I'm happy with that because I want a libertarian in charge of a free speech platform.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm very happy with that. If Trump were to allow him to get
more free speechy.
Yes, at times, right? I would love to see him in government getting rid of government waste. You look at how he cut the people at Twitter.
Yes.
And how Twitter has been just a money-making bonanza for him while being controversial. And while I loved it, all the people, I'm going to leave Twitter. They're all right back there because all their friends are on Twitter. So, by the way, we're on Rumble now.
We are. We're live right now.
We're live on Rumble. Have you watched us on Rumble yet?
I have not watched us on Rumble yet, but I do use Rumble daily, so I'm glad we're on Rumble now.
Yes.
But talking to the Elon Musk thing, him and Trump have both been pretty open about this, about him being in charge of what they call trimming the fat with the government side, government efficiency.
Yeah.
And Elon has proven that in a large corporation setting, he's very good at making that company more efficient. So I think it's a great person to have in his, what I like to call Trump's Avengers. I like to picture Trump as Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. up there, and he's building his Avenger team.
So is JD Vance Captain America?
I would call.
He's got to be. He served in the military.
Yeah, I would call him Captain America. That's a good call. But no.
Who's Vivek?
So Tulsi Gabbard's Wonder Woman.
Doctor Strange.
Vivek's Doctor Strange.
I like that. I like that.
And Tulsi Gabbard is not Wonder Woman. The
Scarlet Witch.
Yes.
Scarlet Witch.
The military background.
Or Black Widow.
Yes.
Black Widow. No, not that. The Black Widow.
Black Widow.
With the military background. Yes.
Military background.
But I like the people he's putting around him this time, and I think his first presidency, he was kind of feeling things out. You saw him firing a lot of people, hiring a lot of people.
Wait, does that make RFK Jr. Thor?
Probably. Or the Hulk.
Maybe.
Or the Hulk.
Maybe.
I mean, I can see he's just crazy enough to be the Hulk.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
might be. He might be.
But yeah,
So I'd have Byron Donalds as the Falcon. So yeah.
nice.
Or no, it's War Machine. We could do him as
Nice,
War Machine.
okay,
too.
perfect.
Yeah, either way. I'm
But
good
regardless,
either
he's
way.
building our Avenger team that's going to save America.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, you see it even with this hurricane aftermath. Him and Elon worked together to get Starlink in these areas so they could get internet, so they could contact people that are trapped or need help right now. And yeah, I think it's really good for the country. I personally, being someone that works in the digital space all day long, and probably see more of the interactions between platforms like Instagram, X, Snapchat, Facebook, Rumble. X, when Trump is elected, is going to go to $1 trillion company during his term.
That'll be wild.
X is bringing in cryptocurrency, is going to make it mainstream. They want to become the WhatsApp of America. And he said that multiple times. All Elon's companies are designed for the extension of human life beyond planet Earth, including the acquisition of X and free speech. He supports Dogecoin because he wants that to be the currency. He has the Boring Company, which is his tunneling company, because he thinks that tunneling is the future of transportation. He has Starlink to expand our reach beyond outer space.
My personal favorite is not a flamethrower, though. That's my personal favorite.
The flamethrowers are pretty cool, but that was like a
We
fundraising
can get
thing.
flamethrowers?
He has flamethrowers, yeah.
And they're not flamethrowers.
They're called
You
not,
have to order
yeah,
not a flamethrower because it's illegal to sell flamethrowers.
His marketing campaign was, it's not a flamethrower, but it's definitely a flamethrower.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, they're
Much
really
more
cool.
so than petting zoo we're going to for whatever.
Capybara Cafe
Yeah.
Chef.
You're going to love
thank
it,
you.
especially if they have good coffee. So, but yes, Elon and Trump together, I think, is a win for America.
So Bjorn Lomborg is an environmentalist, and he has written multiple books. He's got a podcast. He's a brilliant dude. But he's all about human thriving. And he wants to protect the environment so that humans thrive in the environment. It's all about, it's not from a religious perspective, but if you're a faithful person, being a good steward of the planet, and, humans can't thrive in a trash planet. So he looks at it from a data-based perspective without the politics, and a lot of what leftist environmentalists are trying to push they're not about human thriving. So it feels like Elon Musk has begun talking to people like Bjorn Lomborg, who is kicked out of all of the good circles because he's not towing the line. One of the founders of Greenpeace was kicked out of the environmental movement because
He doesn't believe in a lot of the stuff
doesn't
they
believe in the
now.
stuff that they're trying to push because it's not data based, and it's not about humans and animals thriving. It's not about the planet thriving. It's about pushing an agenda. And so I'm really glad to see some of these power brokers in our culture and in our economy starting to come around to, even Mark Zuckerberg is starting to come around to, hey, maybe it wasn't such a good idea to believe everything the federal government said without question.
Right.
Just the fact that he's even saying that out loud is kind of a big deal right now.
And that's part of the evolution of him as an individual, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm going to be more cynical. Someone has told him, Mark, Donald Trump could become president. You better see
that plays a factor too.
See that thing right there? That's called a fence. You better get one leg on either side of it just in case.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, they're going to come investigate you more so than they already have just with the House. And, oh, by the way, even if Trump doesn't win, the GOP is going to have the Senate. So they're still coming to investigate you. So I highly recommend you get a little more moderate. And I think I'm cynical.
I'll take it.
I think Zuckerberg is there rather than I think Musk is a true believer in libertarianism. I don't think Zuckerberg believes in anything but the dollar.
The thing is, I think Musk is pretty recent to it. Mm-hmm. And so like we saw Trump being really recent to conservatism in the 2016 election, he doesn't always make the exact right choices that I would want him to make for someone with that ideology. And so it's kind of, I feel like Elon Musk made a poor choice in the CEO that he put in charge. And that's why X isn't as free speech as I really want it to be. So it's an evolution process, but I like the direction he's going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 4 weeks out, still feel that you think Trump wins?
I think he wins by a landslide.
So I think he wins. I want him to win the popular vote. I want it to happen. I haven't seen a Republican win the popular vote in so long. I want to see it happen just if nothing else, to watch all of the power brokers and culture that are fully on Kamala's side to just have to take that, just have to deal with that. And I think that's the only thing that's going to maybe shut them up, is if like it's a complete red country on the end of this count.
I think you always also have these kind of runs in politics, and Democrats have held the White House for 12 of the last 16 years. Other than the 4 years that Trump was in office, if you're a small business owner, it's been a pretty brutal 12 years.
Yes, it has.
Around the world, our stature has declined. So there's no, at every metric that you want to take, other than someone saying, well, the stock market has gone up. Yeah, because it's the only place you can invest money in. Right? Until crypto came along, it was the only place that you could invest money in, because they had pretty much tanked all the other ways of investing and making money. So there's a lot of people. And then you also have, I think one of the things that people miss today, the stock market's a little more stable because so many people have 401k money in it, right? And it's in all these funds. So if one stock tanks, the rest of the fund should still be fine. That's not how the stock market worked for a long time. So, and I still think there's a correction coming there. I don't know. I'm not predicting doom and gloom, but I do think there's a correction. But, that's about the only metric you can look at and go, well, that's better than it was 16 years ago. Yeah. Everything else is like, we're the amount of money that we pay for food, for gas, for insurance, for cars, for houses, all of those have skyrocketed. And we've been in one group's policies for 75% of that time.
But the stock market only helps those in the upper classes, really. I mean, millennials, I know almost no millennials that have enough fluid income to be investing in the stock market. It's very much a Gen X boom. Like Gen X is like the cutoff of people that really look at the stock market as, oh yeah, things are going great because the stock market's booming. Millennials roll their eyes at that because it's just not where we experience the economy. And you talked about it from the perspective of a business owner. Okay, I got married in 2006. The Democrats won the midterm elections in 2006. They took control of the House. George W. Bush was a lame duck. And at that point, he just rolled over and rubber stamped everything that Democrats had done or wanted, because he was basically like, well, the country's given a mandate. So anything they passed, he signed. He didn't put up a fight for conservatism at all from 2006 on. So yes, they've been in control 12 of the last, what did you say, 14 years? 16 years. But it's really more like 18 years, because they were in control of the halls of power, and George W. Bush did nothing from 2006 on to try. So I got married in 2006. I have started out my legit adult life in 2006, really. I was a homeowner at that point. I was a wife. We were looking to have children. It's been brutal. Like trying to establish ourselves as a family and be able to pay bills and pay for health requirements, having children. I mean, people talk about Obamacare. There was a lot of discussion about Obamacare and how much that helped or hurt. I can tell you, I had a baby before Obamacare was a thing. I had two babies after Obamacare. I can tell you what Obamacare did to maternity coverage. And that was one of their big things, is that no one should not have maternity coverage. And so we got to get it covered. Yeah, it was brutal. Okay. I had to pay $50 a month during my pregnancy to prepay the doctors for labor and delivery at the hospital before Obamacare. After Obamacare, it was $200 a month. And that was with my insurance premiums going from just under $200 a month to over $600 a month. And I still had to pay $200 a month to prepay the exact same medical services that I got with my first child. Don't tell me Obamacare helped make labor and delivery and maternity insurance more affordable, because it didn't. I know it didn't. I had experience directly before, directly after. I know exactly the cause and effect of that. So trying to start in a family and establish ourselves financially in a democratic world has been brutal. And the only years that we got ahead, and the only reason we were able to get a larger house, a house that could fit our family so that my children weren't stacked up like sardines in a single bedroom, was during the Trump years. I cannot do another 4 years of Democrats in power. It's brutal.
Preach, sister, preach.
It's brutal.
All right. Josh, you're almost out of the doghouse. I completely agree with your last comment about W.
Yes,
not one of my favorite presidents.
He's one of the neocons we need out.
Yeah, that whole group needs to just go. Just go. You've created everything that Eisenhower's afraid of is happening now.
Yeah.
And Trump's the only guy that has stood up to that.
Well, even if you're not a Trump fan, you have to be grateful that he put an end to the Bush dynasty.
And the Clinton dynasty.
He did.
The both.
And they're buddies.
That's it. All right. We'll be back tomorrow. We've got trivia tomorrow night. The Bollocks boys will be here. It'll be a quiet, subdued conversation, kind of like a chess club. And you've got the morning show tomorrow morning. You've got that amazing afternoon show with Davey and Pete as well. Levi, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Next, we got all kinds of great guests next week too. This next Wednesday, we'll have Clay Murphy.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Clay's going to come in and see us. So Levi gets to do his first political interview.
Love it.
It's going to be awesome.
Excited.
All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Bye.
See y'all.